I never thought moving into this quiet suburban neighborhood would become the most stressful and surreal week of my life. My wife, Emily, and I had finally found our dream home. It was perfect. Big yard, quiet streets, and thankfully, outside the jurisdiction of the nightmare HOA that everyone warned us about. We were unpacking boxes when the first strange thing happened. A letter slid under our door, polite on the surface, threatening underneath. It was from the HOA, claiming that Emily's car was illegally parked because it partially crossed an imaginary line on the driveway. I laughed it off. Emily, ever the patient one, just shook her head. Then came the knock. Not one, but 3 uniformed police officers at our door. They had a complaint. The HOA claimed we were violating community codes and demanded immediate compliance. I opened my mouth to explain, but Emily calmly stopped me. "Let me handle this," she said. And that's when the officer's expressions changed. See, what the HOA didn't know was that Emily isn't just any resident. She's the county sheriff. I had always known, of course, but I never imagined our quiet suburban life would collide with her job like this. Emily stepped forward, her badge discreetly tucked in her purse. She didn't shout or demand compliance. She didn't need to. Her presence alone radiated authority. The officers stammered, glancing between her and the HOA's complaint, unsure what to do. "I'm Sheriff Emily Carter," she said softly but firmly. "Explain the situation to me." The HOA had called her neighbors, my neighbors, sending them into a frenzy. But Emily listened carefully, taking notes, asking questions, all while keeping her calm, measured tone. Slowly, it became clear. The HOA had no legal ground, no jurisdiction over us. In their arrogance, they had underestimated the one person they should have respected the most. The HOA president's voice cracked over the phone when Emily called them. He tried to argue, to threaten, but Emily didn't flinch. "You're harassing residents outside your authority. Any further action will be considered obstruction of law enforcement and harassment," she said, her voice sharp and unwavering. By the time the officers left, the HOA was scrambling. Emails, phone calls, angry neighbors, all in vain. They had poked the wrong person. That evening, as we sat on our porch, Emily poured us both a drink and sighed. "Sometimes people forget that authority works both ways," she said, smiling. "You don't mess with me or my family." I looked at her, awestruck. The same woman who had comforted me through tough times, the same woman who laughed with me over coffee in the mornings, was a force to be reckoned with when crossed. The next week, the HOA backed down completely. There were no more letters, no more threats, no more unnecessary police visits. We could finally enjoy the peace we had moved here for. And yet, every time I see someone fuming over petty rules or tiny perceived, I thought moving to a quiet suburban neighborhood would finally mean peace. After years of chaos in the city, Emily and I were ready for calm. Little did I know, the drama wouldn't wait for us to settle in. It all started with the HOA, a group of people who seemed to think small rules give them ultimate power. At first, it was subtle. A letter about the garden, a note about the mailbox, complaints about the color of our garage door. I shrugged it off, but Emily's face tightened with each note. I didn't understand why she was so tense. Until the knock came. 3 uniformed police officers were standing at our door. They had been sent by the HOA, claiming we were violating community codes and needed to comply immediately. I felt my stomach drop. "Surely they can't do this," I said nervously. Emily smiled faintly. "Let me handle this," she said calmly. And just like that, the room's energy shifted. The officers were polite but confused. Emily leaned slightly forward, casually pulling her badge from her purse. "I'm Sheriff Emily Carter," she said, her tone calm but commanding. The officers froze. One of them whispered, "Wait, you're the sheriff?" "Yes, the woman I've loved for 10 years. The one who laughs at my terrible jokes and makes the best coffee was also the law." And now, she was about to show the HOA exactly what happens when you underestimate someone. Emily didn't yell. She didn't make threats. She just listened to the HOA's complaint, asking sharp, pointed questions that exposed every flaw in their claims. By the time the officers left, it was clear the HOA had zero authority over us. They had sent the police over nothing, wasting everyone's time and stepping on dangerous ground. But it didn't stop there. The HOA president, a man with a taste for control and a talent for arrogance, didn't take the lesson quietly. He called, screaming about rules and precedents. Emily calmly recorded the call. "You are harassing residents and obstructing lawful activity. Consider this your warning," she said firmly. The next few days were tense. Our neighbors, who had been unknowingly dragged into this petty HOA war, watched anxiously. The HOA sent more letters, trying to intimidate us, but Emily responded each time with precision. No shouting, no drama, just calm, unshakable authority. I watched her from the porch one evening as she made a final call to the HOA, wrapping up the confrontation like a master. I couldn't help but feel proud and terrified. Proud because she had protected us. Terrified because I realized how fiercely she loved and would defend her family. By the end of the week, the HOA had backed off. No more letters. No more calls. No more threats. It was over. But something had changed. Emily's strength wasn't just in her job, it was in her heart. In her unwavering commitment to justice, to fairness, to me. I looked at her and realized that living in fear of petty rules